Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to some motherfucking truth nukes about 9/11. In today's video, I'm going to be answering the question of who did 9/11. Because people say all the time, oh, Bush did 9/11. Or the government will tell you Al-Qaeda, sheltered by Afghanistan, did 9/11. None of that shit is true. In today's video, I'm going to get to the fucking root cause, the fucking root of who did 9/11. And I got a picture of these 5 men right here, so you might know where this is going. And as some of you may know, these 5 men are the 5 dancing Israelis. But when you just simply Google like 5 dancing Israelis, right? It doesn't tell you any real information, and the ADL gives you a disservice because the ADL tells you it's just some anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Google AI tells you you're a crazy anti-Semite for believing this shit. But nonetheless, an eyewitness on 9/11 reported to police that she saw 5 men photographing and appearing to celebrate the burning of the towers. These 5 men hopped in their van belonging to Urban Moving Systems and drove off. So these are really suspect behavior from men that like supposedly didn't know 9/11 was going to happen. The police pulled these men over, and we got the FBI files, baby. These FBI files can be publicly accessed at any time, anywhere, by anybody who has the internet and Wi-Fi connection. More people need to read this shit, in my opinion. All you need to do is Google Urban Moving Systems full text. You got like 3 files right here that are just full of text. You got a CIA file right here. But we're going to hop right into here in archive.gov. This is a reliable website for archived FBI files. If I just click right here, you can see here at the top of this page, it says Federal Bureau of Investigation. So everything I'm going to be talking about from these files is coming from the FBI. It's not coming from me, guys. But this is a lot of text, and we can't just simply read through all of this in one quick video. So I'm going to Control F this shit, and I'm going to show you guys what's up. So if I Control F this shit, these guys, they get pulled over. Upon getting pulled over, they tell police, "We are Israeli. We are not your problem. Your problems are our problems. The Palestinians are the problem." The Palestinians, as if they had anything to do with 9/11. Okay, also, upon getting pulled over, police search the van and the stuff they have on them. They find out that they all have airline tickets to immediately leave the United States right after 9/11. How convenient. They were all going to leave the United States. The police also find explosive residue in the van. They find explosive residue on a blanket inside the van. And they get arrested. I mean, rightfully so. After they get arrested, one of the men gets fed up and he tells police, "Give us 20 years and we'll take over your media and destroy your country." Well, fast forward 20 years later, what happened? I don't know. You tell me. But this is just one FBI file of it. And if I go into Google here, I go into this other FBI file, say this one. This one talks about some real shit. Because if I just simply search warehouse. Oh, this is a good story. So, the FBI raids the warehouse for Urban Moving Systems. Upon searching the warehouse, they discover fertilizer and other chemicals used for making explosives, pipes, caps, and traces of anthrax. So not only do these guys have explosive residue in their van, they have explosives in the warehouse for Urban Moving Systems. And anthrax, because for those of you who may not know, back in the day after 9/11, the U.S. mainstream corporate news was pushing these bullshit narratives that Al-Qaeda was using anthrax. Saddam Hussein was supplying them with anthrax. Whole time the anthrax was in the fucking warehouse of the Urban Moving Systems, which was operated by Mossad agents. Fuck, what else is in here? Oh, yeah, polygraph. Yeah, you guys gotta see this shit because Paul Kurzberg, one of the 5 dancers, he refused for 10 weeks to take a polygraph, and then when he did take it, he failed it. His lawyer said his client worked for Israeli intelligence in another country. Yeah, so these guys they're failing polygraph tests. They have explosive residue in their van in their warehouse. They have the airplane tickets to immediately leave the United States. They're blaming it on the Palestinians. They're telling police, give us 20 years and we'll take over your country and take over your media and destroy your country. Come on, guys. It's time to wake up. We also... Oh, yeah, before I move on from 5 Dancing Israelis, let's just take a closer look at some of these guys, right? It says, right here, it lists their names. And one of the guys is Yaron Shmuel. Well, Yaron Shmuel, this is an interesting fella because if you Google his name and look at his LinkedIn, this guy still has this shit on LinkedIn. Anybody can just look this up. Here's Yaron Shmuel. Like 20 to 25 years after 9/11. He's old now. But we just scroll down in his work history. You can see this guy was a project manager for an explosives company. Explosives and security for Octagon. Huh, how convenient. I wonder who did the controlled demolition of the Twin Towers. You tell me. If we take a look at this article written by Counterpunch, this article talks about some good shit. I'll just scroll down here real quick. And then, ooh, what does this big text say right here? And at least 6 of the urban centers, suspected Israeli spies were living near 9/11 hijackers. In some cases, they lived less than a half a mile apart. So these guys, and this includes the 5 Dancing Israelis, they were just living blocks away from the hijackers. And they were living in the United States to like over a year before the attack. Of course, they were being protected by the CIA, and the CIA was protecting the hijackers. But the CIA did not do 9/11, as unlike what some people might say, right? It was a different intelligence agency, a foreign intelligence agency that was responsible for the controlled demolition of the Twin Towers. So the 5 Dancing Israelis, while they were locked up, they had a high-profile criminal lawyer come to their defense, a man by the name of Alan Dershowitz. For those of you who may not know, Alan Dershowitz was the lawyer for Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein, as a lot of people may know, was working with Mossad. And it's almost as if Alan Dershowitz's lawyer intended to defend Mossad agents. But yeah, I find that rather interesting. And then, let's talk about Oded Elner. Because Oded Elner, he was one of the 5 Dancing Israelis. So, these guys were in American jail for 2 months. They get bonded out somehow, and then deported back to Israel. Upon getting deported back to Israel, Oded Elner goes on an Israeli TV show, and he tells the host that we're Israeli. We are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the events. Well, that's their purpose for being in America, guys, to document the event. But how did they know the event was going to happen? Okay, moving on from the 5 Dancing Israelis, let's talk about the Odago Messenger app. And once again, if you just search into Google, Odago full text, you'll find the FBI file. I urge you guys to just look at the FBI files on this shit because this is coming from the FBI themselves. And Odago Messenger app, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is and its role in 9/11. Let me just zoom in here so you can see this second paragraph. This second paragraph is what's important. So it says Odago provides a messaging service, and it was free of charge to approximately 5 million people. But it says on 9/11, approximately 2 hours prior to the bombing of the World Trade Center. Ooh, sorry, didn't mean to flip the page. Redacted, a member of the technical team located in where? Received an instant message that stated something to the effect, wait 2 hours and we will kill you sons of pigs. Boom! Redacted did not think anything of it at the time. Later in the day, the World Trade Center had been bombed. A few of the technical team were discussing the events and the message sent prior to the bombing. At approximately 4:47, Redacted received an instant message. Didn't I tell you we will fuck you and your mother USA? Wait your turn, you sons of pigs. Boom! And again, this app and these messages was located in where, guys? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, gotta invade Afghanistan. Okay, let's take a closer look at the hijackers and their citizenship before they came to America. Because, first of all, 15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudi Arabian. Like, why does nobody talk about that? Why did Saudi Arabia just get off scot-free? We invade Iraq. But one of these guys was a Lebanese citizen. That is none other than Ziad Jarrah. Why is Ziad Jarrah so important? And why is his Lebanese citizenship so important? Because in 2008, Lebanon arrested 2 Mossad agents that were giving all of their info to the Israeli government. These Mossad agents were none other than Ali al-Jarrah and Yusuf al-Jarrah, the biological uncles of Ziad al-Jarrah. They were the biological uncles of the 9/11 hijacker. This guy had 2 family members in the Mossad agency. And, this website right here goes more in depth about it, crescent.org. But I don't want to hear no BS about how just because this guy had 2 Mossad uncles that he didn't know them. Just because they were biological uncles, he didn't know them. He didn't have a connection to them. They all lived in Lebanon, guys. Lebanon was a small country. It is a small country. Like, if you live in Lebanon and you have 2 uncles in there, you probably know those uncles. So, come on, guys. Al-Qaeda is created by the CIA, and it was controlled by Mossad and the CIA. Mossad and the CIA were working jointly together. Hillary Clinton even admitted herself that the CIA created Al-Qaeda. Hillary Clinton admitted that. For those of you who don't want to believe me, there's a video of Hillary Clinton admitting that. I'm not going to pull it up, though, because I got to stay on track. I got to stay on topic of what the fuck I'm talking about here. Because there's a company we got to talk about. Zim American Shipping Company. This company was located in the 16th floor of one of the towers. And a week before 9/11, they broke out of their $50,000 lease to do an emergency evacuation from the Twin Towers. Says it right here. Shipping company moved out a week before 9/11. They moved it to Norfolk, Virginia. The governor of Virginia was like, oh, wow, you guys must be the luckiest people ever. Yeah, it wasn't luck, bud. It was not luck. And who owned this company that broke out of their $50,000 lease to do an emergency evacuation out of the Twin Towers a week before 9/11? Well. I'll show you who owned it. I'm going to say in 2000. I don't know if they changed ownership. It was jointly owned by the state of Israel and the Israel Corporation. Just a coincidence, right, guys, that this company, they break out of the $50,000 lease to emergency evacuation a week before 9/11. It's just a coincidence, guys. Don't read too much into it. We got to invade Iraq. So, moving on, after 9/11, Netanyahu tells this Israeli newspaper, Ma'ariv, Netanyahu tells them, we are benefiting from one thing, and that is the attack on the Twin Towers and the Pentagon and the American struggle in Iraq. This swung American public opinion in our favor. I love how Netanyahu mentions Iraq specifically here because the reason they wanted to invade Iraq so bad is leading up to 9/11, Saddam Hussein was actively funding Palestinian causes. And the Palestinian resistance against Israeli occupation and terrorism that runs rampant through the West Bank and Gaza. And on a side note, Saddam Hussein was not abiding by the petrodollar system. And in October of 2009, he started switching to euro. He would sell oil in euros instead of US dollar. So the US had a little bit of a reason to want to invade Iraq. But maybe most importantly, above all, they did not have a usury-based Rothschild-owned central banking system. Neither did Afghanistan. And it's like any country that doesn't have a Rothschild usury-based central banking system gets war waged upon them. Yeah, so that's basically all I got for this video, guys. There's a lot more damning evidence about 9/11, but this is the stuff I wanted to go through, specifically highlighting who did it. Because I don't think Bush did it, unlike what some people say. I think Bush was merely covering it up, merely lying about it to justify a war and open the door for us attacking the Middle East. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and Israel does these false flag attacks all the time. It's like, what more evidence do people need? I could go on and on. If you want to learn more about Israeli false flags, I urge you guys to look into the Lavon affair. You know, this is a doozy. Or the USS Liberty incident. This is quite the rabbit hole. But there's much more to go through. And the CIA does false flag attacks too, so maybe I'll make a video about that in the future. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.